If you want a spam strategy, then this spam attack is one of the best at Town Hall 13. This is known as the triple clone Hydra. This is a super strong attack that you will want to use. For the most part, you want to start off by creating the funnel. Whether this be with your Barbarian King and Archer Queen together or separated, it's up to you. But for the most part, you are creating one side of the funnel, so one on the right, and of course, one on the left. And in this case, what the attacker wants to do is to make sure that he's funneling out these areas so he can control where the dragons and dragon riders are going. So using something like the Royal Champion to expand on the funnel is sometimes a good idea, though you should be saving your Royal Champion for the back end. Overall, the main goal from this, after you create the funnel and have some solid pathing after clearing these buildings out, is you then want to start sending in your Hydra, your dragons, your balloons, and your dragon riders. This is what makes the attack fun. Overall, it's pretty much spam from then on out. You've got one rage spell early on for your dragons and your dragon riders with balloons, using a Grand Warden ability to protect them, and of course, using the battle blimp with the clone spells. That's why you're saving a rage spell for them. So using a rage right where the town hall is and using the clone spells to clone more balloons on there is really important. Now, of course, I would highly recommend using all of your clones, but if you don't want to use it for the balloons, you can use it with a dragon or dragon rider. They will still get a lot of extra value. Overall, for the most part, you just want to make sure that you've got easy and consistent pathing with your dragons and dragon riders. You won't really have any more spells on the back end, which is why I recommend using the Royal Champion on the back end. She's going to help clear the back end side a lot more consistently, and it's going to make it so much better for your attacks in general. Overall, you just want to make sure that you are taking those necessary precautions, but this can still work extremely well, and in this case, you can still earn a very simple 3-star. It just takes a lot of time to understand exactly how the attack strategy works, what base identification you really need. Overall, it's just creating a good funnel, maybe going for the Eagle Artillery first, and then just kind of going from there, but you can still get a very simple 3-star by using this attack strategy if you are a fan of using those dragon riders. Like I mentioned, pathing is the most important thing, so you can learn pathing from this example. Being able to make sure that you are controlling your dragons, your dragon riders, and your balloons is really important. So, you want to start this off by, of course, using an E-Drag. Like I mentioned earlier, this is a great spot for an Electro Dragon. Good chain, since all the buildings are very close together between one tile. Overall, you then want to use your Barbarian King and Archer Queen up at the top in order to help create a little bit more of a funnel, and that way you can control your Dragon Riders to already go in. Dragon Riders, dragons, balloons, you want to make sure that they're pushing themselves in. You can use the Royal Champion to help with the funneling as well, and using the Grand Warden ability with an early rage helps the balloons, helps the dragons and dragon riders. You've got the clone spells, and you can use the clones a bit more backwards, so that way they can also have some of the balloons still left over even after they've been cloned. So you just always want to make sure that you're kind of playing around with the clone spells, and sometimes you could even clone into an area like this in case you want to move them away from the town hall. So in this case, he has a good lane to move himself through regardless. And for the most part, this works incredibly well. This is a very common style of base, and control is one of the most important things. From here, he was able to control everything to go all the way through the core, just like that. That's how you want to treat this attack strategy. You want to make sure that you've got enough control as you start to work yourself through. Now, dragons are not the only thing you can pair dragon riders with. You can pair them up with electro dragons to provide an even greater combo if you're seeing a lot of very compact bases, and this can work incredibly well with something like an Electron if you don't necessarily want to use the triple clone variation. Double clone is still very, very strong and can still be used on a lot of different base types, but I would highly recommend really trying out the Hydra of the triple clone because it works incredibly well and it can get you a safe 3-star. Now, if you are new to Town Hall 13, you can still use an attack strategy very similarly. This is using something like the Electron. Overall, this is a weaker base, but the hero levels aren't really, maxed out, so this is justified. Overall, you can use a Electron if you don't necessarily want to use a triple clone. This is using 2 clone spells. You can get a large amount of value. It's not going to be the exact same, but the E-Drag can offer you some really good value if you want to get through the enemy CC. Overall, you're just going to use the Electron to create part of a funnel. Then you could also then go ahead and use your heroes to create a bit more of the funnel. And in this case, using the heroes to go in for something like the multi-target Infernos are extremely important. So you just want to make sure that you're able to control where the Electro Dragons and the Dragon Riders go. So in this case, being able to use the Archer Queen and Barbarian King to help create a little bit of a funnel, while you've also got the Royal Champion to also work herself in. And if you have her around level 5, level 7, she can still clear through something like an Inferno Tower. Though you may need to use a spell, especially if it's a higher level one. But being able to create the funnel and using the Royal Champion to clear through the multi-Inferno is going to help you a lot in the long term. So she will be able to get through it, even if that means you have to use something like an invisibility spell. Overall, you then want to make sure that once you've got the funnel from your heroes, you can then start to send in your Electro Dragons, your Dragon Riders, your Grand Warden, of course, into the base. In this case, you don't really need to create too much of a funnel in terms of the Electro Dragons because they can kind of create their own, but using the Grand Warden ability early kind of protects everything as you start to work yourself across. And making sure that you've got enough spells to support them on the back end is really important. Since the Dragon Riders are a bit faster than the Electro Dragons, chances are it's really good to bring a haste spell with this to keep the Electro Dragons moving through. Using a freeze spell for stuff like the air defenses does help, and even though this Town Hall is level 2, it still has a Giga Bomb, so it is still a very big threat. But overall, you can still use this to absolutely clear through, and this can work incredibly well. The Dragon Riders do help a lot, and the Electro Dragons can still help clear through the base. And in this case, he still had some Dragon Riders, he still had some Electro Dragons up, so this is still a very good option. While the base was not 100% maxed out, and of course, the attacker was not 100% maxed out, it does show that this can still work very well, especially if you are new to Town Hall 13. So I would highly recommend using this type of variation. It's a very strong option and can work on a lot of really different, really good base types. You could even use the triple clone with the Electro Dragons if you so choose to do so, because this attack is really strong. And of course, similarly, this will work for Town Hall 14. The main idea is just to make sure that you're able to bomb the core of the base. That's it. That is really how simple it really is, especially if the Town Hall is in the center of the base. So for the most part, you just want to make sure that you're creating the funnel on 2 different sides. An E-Drag is great in most cases, and I would highly recommend that you bring that Electro Dragon. There's a lot that you can learn from Town Hall 14 as well. Being able to make sure that you're using your heroes to go in for something like, well, let's say a single target Inferno, just being able to control is one of the most important things, and that's what you learn from something like this. Even though the base is not maxed out, it's not maxed Town Hall 14, this does work, and I've seen it versus other maxed Town Hall 14s. So making sure that you've got a good lane to move through, the Grand Warden ability for your battle blimp, and then just bombing the core of the base with the clone spells. This is why it is extremely strong. You want to make sure that you have that so you're able to still consistently move through. Of course, having 4 clones is better than having 3, but still, 3 can still do a fantastic job of bombing the core, especially if you put it in more of a triangular shape. Overall, this can work incredibly well, and in this case, that also helps with pathing, because the rest of your balloons, dragon, and dragon riders can actually swiftly move in like this. You would even have the Royal Champion move in with the rest of your attack. And since this is very similar to Town Hall 13, you can really just do the same thing. The hero pets don't really matter at Town Hall 14 nearly as much, and it can still be used really consistently, regardless if you're Town Hall 12 or Town Hall 13 with 3 or 4 clone spells. And you can just see how much overkill this was, just because of the BuMm in the core of the base. This is why it is one of the strongest attacks right now in the game. I wanted to show a Town Hall 14 replay. I wanted to show you guys this because there's a lot that you can learn from Town Hall 14, and plus, it is a very strong option here at Town Hall 14 as well. Now, what do you think about the triple clone attack? Let me know down in the comments below what you think, and let me know what you would like to see here at Town Hall 13, or if you would even like to see more Town Hall 13. Remember to use code CORRUPT before purchasing any of the special offers, scenery, or gold pass. Catch you in the next video. Corrupt, signing out.